There are several other settings that we can change on a QList by QList basis. To take a look at those, let's go back into our QList index by hitting QQ. And with QList 1 selected, let's again look at our CIA. The first section, you'll see 3 green rectangles, which each represent a fader. We'll talk more about those when we get to our fader configuration section later on. Going across the columns, master we just covered in the previous video. HTP allows us to select HTP or LTP playback behavior on a QList by QList basis. Turning the Assert button on will assert every queue in this QList upon playback. The Phantom option will allow us to run a QList in Phantom mode. This means that when you play a queue on a Phantom QList, it will not point the command line to that QList, and it will not change the status of an unlocked PSD. There are several options under the Exclude column, and these are each toggleable independently. Exclude from record will prevent content in a QList from being recorded into other targets. Exclude from solo will prevent that QList from being affected by any solo commands. Exclude from inhib will prevent inhibitive submasters from removing content in that QList. And exclude from GM will prevent a grandmaster from removing any content in that QList. There are a few other options here, and we're going to cover those in future videos. We also have the ability to link every queue in a QList to trigger a subsequent queue in another QList. So for example, if we say q1/execute2/, we have now linked QList 1 to QList 2. Now, anytime a queue is played in list 1, it will concurrently play an identically numbered queue in list 2. If list 1 plays a queue number that doesn't exist in list 2 will stay where it was. To remove that, we'll just say q1/execute, enter. Finally, let's talk about autoblock cleanup for an entire QList. Previously, we looked at how to clean up autoblocks on a queue by queue basis. We'll say q1/autoblock clean, enter, enter. I've now removed all of the autoblocks from QList 1.